Game loaded.
Hi, and welcome to edition of Lessons Learned with your host, Rafael Pinheiro. There is a significant price gap in the video game industry. You have your free-to-play games, which are mostly mobile games, or a few, PC games. Then you have your indie games that run anywhere between 99 cents to about $20, give or take. And then you have to jump all the way to the other side of the gap at $50 to $60, where you have your huge mega AAA titles, right? The ones you're supposed to spend hundreds of hours or hundreds of dollars worth of microtransactions and DLC and all that. But very few games are priced between $20 to $50. Maybe you have your standalone or spam-alone, or whatever you want to call Far Cry Blood Dragon, or a couple of Ubisoft Assassin's Creed side-scrollers. Maybe a few indie games push into that price range, but not a lot of games do. Why is it that, for example, AAA industry is not exploiting this gap? Releasing games that support their existing IPs, but at a lower price. Your first-person shooters that are 5 hours long as opposed to 200 hours long. Or maybe a RTS, or I'm not saying that RTS necessarily has to be a simple game, but it can be made at a smaller budget than, say, an MMO, right? Or a side-scroller that doesn't necessarily have to rely on 16-bit graphics. Maybe make their games episodic, like the interactive fiction that comes out of Telltale. You can keep your IP alive by supporting it this way. You can introduce new IP. You can create smaller, tighter, bug-free games that run for 5, maybe 10 hours at most for a smaller audience at a smaller price, but with a much larger profit margin than your huge games that require to make $1 billion in 48 hours to be successful. Now, I don't expect the AAA industry to do this because these games are not good fodder for microtransactions and season passes, etc., right? You can't milk them their worth. You put them out there, they're a one-time thing, and that's it. They're never even good for sequels as well, right? Although you could, like I said before, introduce a new IP, introduce new mechanics with these games, right? That then could be used in other games, in other established games. What I suspect is that eventually you're going to see middle-range developers, the ones that started as indies but have grown a success, that may not want to go, like CD Projekt Red and go all the way to The Witcher or Cyberpunk 2077, big style games, and said, we can still make smaller games and still be profitable and exploit this price gap. And I hope to see more of those games in the future, because otherwise things are going to get very stale very soon. So here's to hoping that either the AAA industry wakes up and makes more games in that price range, or we see more former indie developers being not so indie, but yet feel comfortable making and releasing games in the gap. As always, if you like this or any of my videos on my channel, please comment and subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you. Good night.